morning. Hi, seeing y'all in here. Good morning. Welcome to my half-fast followers.
Is refreshing the stream. PHX Network says refreshing the stream completed.
How about now? Is it still bad? Like I said, it's a half-ass morning show. We're gonna talk shit. We're gonna talk dicks. Why? Because the fucking biting. And people who are asleep, I probably don't want to fucking bite until 4 this afternoon. Damn it, we're gonna try. I don't know what's going on with it. But that's fine. We'll move it. We'll see if moving it'll help any. People bitch, I don't like that. Not too fucking.
Are you supposed to look for pixelated people? LOL. Jake Houston 12 says hello.
What up, Jake? Freaked me out. Hit the radio myself.
Jake Houston 12 says, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How's it look now?
Says to jump in.
No problem. It's. I gotta restart my damn phone. I'm gonna have to restart my phone. I wasn't even paying attention. There it is. Somebody clip that, please. Nice job, brother. Facebook had it absolutely right. The little kid on Facebook had it absolutely perfect. I model my screaming at fish after that little kid.
Don't scare the fish away, Ron.
I'm not. I'm not sticking my face in the hole. I'm not sticking my face in the hole. Okay? I promise.
Got any fish yet, Ron? Koopa20 asks, what's the temp there, Ron?
Spun right around my transducer.
R3D Invasion yells Vern Flanders just cheered 100 bits.
Thank you. Oh, look at this stud. Come here, buddy. look at this stud right here. Look at him.
Not so smart fish added today for.
Look at that. That's a stud. I've got a tank issue. And maybe the heat from driving swelled it up enough again. So it's gonna set us back a little bit on the live view stuff, but I have to, or we won't. I would like to get at least 1 or 2 more road trips in before ice hits.
Venture says 0.00.
All right, so
Dan Burgundy yells you guys go for it, he'll approve it. Ron's a easy bake chef says yeah.
and we're going to lock. All right, you guys got it. Holy good night. Let my kid use it one time. What the hell did he do? I can see why he was having problems with it.
Fishing Solo says tie for the shout out at Ruger Wife.
He's got this line bound under itself so bad. I go in to review my clips sometimes, and it's just like the stuff that is in there is just ridiculous.
PHX Network says scene switch to live live. PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 2134, 52 milliseconds.
How about now? Now that there's probably
NH
nobody left
Captain
here.
says morning.
Morning, John.
Grey Wolf 7173 says morning wrong.
Good morning.
PHX Network says scene switch to live low. Phone 697, 528 milliseconds. K Jackson 6 says, did you hear about the Michigan State University shooting?
Yes, I did.
PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 654, 103 milliseconds. NH Captain says, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Yes, I heard about the shooting. Unfortunately, every...
3006 says, little better, you're still ugly, lol.
I mean, if I look like you, I'd kick my own ass. So, here's my problem with shootings. As tragic as they are, they turn into a political event every fucking time.
173 says, lol.
Every time there's a school shooting of any sort, it turns into a political
Jackson
event
says
for
he
gun
was in
control.
Michigan and was listening to the scanner for a while, just hearing what was going on.
Oh, damn.
K Jackson 6 says you are so right.
We lose the validity.
K Jackson 6 says both sides just go at it.
Yep. We lose the validity of the event itself.
Grey Wolf 7173 says it hurts legal gun owners. He's after you follow says morning, sir.
Good morning.
Nick 0306 says I kick my ass all the time, lol. Boss Lady Trucker Chick's wife says good morning, everyone.
Good morning, boss lady. So, yes, that is the unfortunate part of the world we live in. Everything becomes a political event. And people suck, man. You know,
Grey Wolf 7173 says good morning, boss lady.
We
K Jackson 6 says the dude that did the shooting got 4 miles off campus and then called himself in for the cops to arrive, and then he shot himself in the face.
well, the thing I don't understand is okay. Instead of trying to figure out what this dude's deal was, every politician is on their soapbox talking about this and that. And let's face it, folks, If you were dumb enough to believe that guns kill people, and I mean seriously, you would have to be a fucking idiot to say guns kill people. Guns don't just get up and move themselves unless you have military AI shit. That is the most ridiculous blanket statement I've ever heard in my life. Guns kill people. So does your mom with that ugly, with that nasty ass fucking thing she got going on between her legs, but you don't see them creating a political movement over
And the
that.
captain says it could take you a while, but I could do it with a fishing pole.
People kill people.
So does that need to be controlled as well.
No. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Because we've allowed the politicians to tell us what is dangerous and what is not. Because we've allowed Big Brother to tell us who we have to be.
Nate0306 says people that pull the trigger kill people.
We get to this stage where we've allowed the government to tell us what is good and what is bad in our lives. Truthfully, we have. It's gotten absolutely ridiculous. We believe the government, but we choose who we want to believe. The funny part is nobody has the same story. Not a single fucking politician has the same story.
Grey Wolf 7173 says government sucks.
Government is good. When greed enters government, it is bad. When you talk about things like government and the governing of people, people have to be governed. Unfortunately, we would like to say, oh, no, I do not. But that is bullshit. If you were allowed to run amok and do whatever you want, what do you think you'd be fucking doing? What do you honestly think you would be doing? You'd have no regulations in manufacturing. You'd have no regulations in anything, which basically means people can put out whatever the fuck they want, when they want, and how they want, which may sound really cool until you realize how many lowlifes there are.
Have you heard about the lead poisoning at Federal in the news?
No. I haven't had the news on. I honestly haven't watched the news a whole lot. I catch bits and pieces of it. I'm going to start watching things a little more, going back to some of my own.
173 says yes, I have.
They're not going to start running fucking Camp Lejeune ads about Federal, are they? Oh my God, if you or a loved one worked at Federal Cartridge and you experienced lead poisoning, please call. Side effects are don't chew on lead, stupid.
Greywood 7173 says I'm pretty sure they will wrong. Miller Time 72 says good morning wrong. I completely agree.
It has been a proven fact that ungoverned people who live in anarchy, most of the people in society would not survive. The rest would be slaves.
320 says Ron, I woke up today. Being tortured.
Well, get your finger out of your eyeball. You wouldn't be tortured. Duh.
Outdoors Without says a few idiots ruined it for all of us here. When no onesie underscore 320 says my babysitter likes giving me nuggets for hours. When no onesie underscore 320 says nuggies.
The issue that we have, okay, it has been proven fact that people have to have a governing faction. The earliest dated back tribes that we have any type of history on were governed. You know, even the earliest, you know, when you talk about kings and queens and blood and things like that, that is how generations were passed down. That's how leadership was passed down. Um, and the way to change leadership was not by vote. It was literally by challenging the king, the king's knight, you know, their top soldier to a duel, whatever the case may be. A lot of the stuff that you see, but needless to say, people have always had to be governed. Why? Well, let's face it. You would have a Mad Max theme type deal going on. You would not have the stuff that you have because some people are too fucking lazy. You'd have these mini communities that have to be self-sufficient. We would have none of the technology we have now. None. That would be not even going to happen. Too many people would be do or die, and a lot of the communities that would be out there that are either under leadership.
Says Potts IFB is rating us with 28 viewers.
Potsy! Somebody give that man a shout out. Somebody give that Potsy guy a shout out. I appreciate the raid, brother. How you doing, man? Hope you had a good show. I'm just in here talking shit. Come on in. Have a seat. All you late nighters.
NH Captain says he said somebody.
What?
Offline B says doing good. It's late here, so heading to bed lol.
10-4. Thank you, Buzz. I appreciate you. All right. Now back to it. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So it has been proven.
Boss Lady Trucker Chip's wife says welcome Raiders.
It has been proven that people without a governing body. Now you might be able to. Even you could say, "Oh, well, I would just be off in the woods with my family." Well, then you're the leader. You still have a governing faction. You still have a governing faction. It is built
Boss
in our
Lady
genetics.
Trucker Chip's wife says Buzzy beat me LOL.
It is a proven fact that we have to have a governing faction. It is in our DNA. Some of us are meant to lead those governing factions. A lot of people think they can lead those governing factions or be the leader of these, of whatever. But when they're put in that role, they epically fail. Henceforth, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, all of them. But the problem is if the governing faction isn't regulated by the people, they're allowed to run amok. Henceforth, the United States government. The United States government, in its inception, was governed by the people. Unfortunately, you know, racism was a thing when in the writing of our Constitution. Racism and slavery was very prevalent, and we're not talking just blacks. If you were ignorant to think that blacks were the only fucking slaves in this country, you're an idiot. You shouldn't be here, because I'm going to call you stupid, because that would make you very fucking stupid. Okay? At the time of the inception of our Constitution, were subject to slavery. Black slavery ran amok here, was very prevalent here, because honestly, truthfully, black slaves were the hardest working and most profitable ones out there. And for those of you to think that the slave trade is actually done, you're very wrong. But here nor there. In the inception of our Constitution, it basically was written based on anybody owning property. Land. Anybody owning land had the right to choose, or right to govern, had the right to govern
Office 37 says hello, Hypeus guys.
Howdy. They were the governing faction of the United States government. But even early on and once our forefathers started getting out, you had money. Money became a motivator. The thing is politicians back then, you know,
Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says at Pappas 37 hello.
some people believe in term limitations for politicians. I could see yes, but I could also say no. I believe if you brought into finances, henceforth, you take the.
PHX Network says trying to fix the stream.
Do I got static? But you take something like.
Dash Life says yes.
Oh, that would be the microphone setup. Hold on.
Boss Lady Trucker Chit says fine on my end. Hello. 1,580. 1,000 seconds. Office 37 says at Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife Hitchy.
You take something.
PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 688 64 millisecond.
Sorry, you're going to hear that until I get my. And maybe I'll just move lakes today. I'll find a lake with better reception.
Dash Life says much better. Thanks.
No problem, brother. The static can be very, very minute, but people wearing headsets and things like that, they'll hear it. I could tell on the graph. I now have an audio graph on my side of my screen, so when I see it lifting up, there's a possibility that there's static when I'm not saying anything. Anyways, so we now no longer have a governing faction for our government. Our government is put themselves in a place of power that nobody can stand them down. Now, you take something like, you could say term limitations and no lifetime benefits. Okay. But I think people.
Dash Life says head to Wyoming tomorrow.
Damn. Holy shit, people might actually start thinking you're a truck driver. But the truth of the matter is if you were to take
Dash Life
politicians.
says gosh I hope not. Outdoors Without says my cousin, who has been in the military for 18 years, just sent me this. My husband got back from an all-hands call with an admiral. Admiral basically said be prepared to be utilized. The post you made earlier, things are headed that way. Office 37 says...
Oh, we're getting to that. So, with no governing faction for the government, if you were to take their wages, if they wanted to best represent their area, then make sure they never made more than the median household income of their area, the area in which they represent. Representatives would make no more than the median household income of their district. Senators would make no more than the average median household of their entire state. Do you think they'd be fighting more for their local economy, more for their local people if you did that? I think so. $200-something thousand a year, they can kiss my ass. And then you make sure you audit the piss out of them. You make sure you audit the piss out of them. They're choosing to do a civil duty, just like any other job. Now, if you put in your 20 years as a senator, absolutely, pension, you get the Medicaid, Medicare like everybody else gets. You get all that. You put in your 20 years or whatever it is, you worked until the age of retirement, and that's what you get from the company. You take people like our current president, who has been sucking on the welfare system, aka Congress, aka Vice Presidency, aka House of Representatives, who's been a lifelong politician. How can you tell me a lifelong politician has the best needs of its people? How can you honestly tell me that anybody in Congress right now has the best interest of the people? They may talk a good game. Let's take Donald Trump, for instance, the sore topic. Nobody wants to talk about Donald Trump, but guess what? Donald Trump has basically said
420 says Mr. Potato Head.
Donald Trump is going to run in 2024. Do I like Donald Trump as a president? I love him. Do I want to see him back in office?
420 says aka Biden.
I would have a hard time seeing Donald Trump come back. I'm not ready to go through another shit show. Don't get me wrong. The guy was a phenomenal president. He makes it. I'm voting for him. Period. I'm not voting for a Kamala Harris. I am not voting for another term of Joe Biden. I am not. If you vote Democrat because you just are a Democrat, you're a fucking idiot. Look at our economy right now. What, because the news tells you that unemployment's at an all-time low and inflation is going down? Fuck no. Hell no. Look at the cost of groceries right now. When's the last time you seen fuel prices under $3 a gallon? Seriously. When is the last time that you've seen affordable prices? What did we do? We did a minimum wage increase. That's great because
PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 1147 115 millisecond. Milky Hoots 420 says $8 for eggs. PHX Network says scene switch to live low. Phone 655 362 millisecond.
I will move lakes after the show, I promise.
Sounds like the idiots that would vote for Trudeau up here. PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 664 179 millisecond.
I don't know why signal is getting sketch out here.
Canada. Do we got that Trudeau bum? He sucks like Biden. Our 33 of 3R Mad N355 says they are all a pile of shit. That's Viper smells. Dash Like says my heat bill was almost 500 last month. Absolutely ridiculous. PHX Network says scene switch to live low. Phone 721 977 millisecond. PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 1165 226 millisecond.
So apparently my phone is going to jump in and out this morning. And it was doing it last night too. So as good as the fish are going to bite on this lake tonight, guess what? My ass is going to be moving lakes. The biggest problem, and I'm not, listen, I don't.
So $10. Outdoors the dog says try moving your phone next.
It is right next to a window. My phone is right next to a window. See? You're sitting right there. That's the window. My guess is signal is just shit out here, so we'll try you over here and see what happens. Does it seem to be better? Outside of the sunlight, back of my head.
Dash Like says yes.
Apparently my Bluetooth cut out too, so whatever. All right. Anyways, I don't classify myself as a Democrat or Republican. I'm what you call a centrist. I look at what everybody's having to offer and I go right down the center because I believe none of what I hear, half of what I see, and pretty much all of it is bullshit. You take, for instance, the laws that have been recently passed in Minnesota under the scrutiny of COVID and under the scrutiny of this big surplus budget that the state doesn't know what to do with. So in the state of Minnesota, a state convicted felon used to be able to go out hunting. They were allowed to have hunting guns, and mainly black powder was kind of the big thing. Muzzle loaders. Well, during that time, they passed a law that they can't even do that. You tell me, well, I don't think convicted felons should have a gun. Well, how many of your fucking recent shooters have been convicted felons? You look at murders per capita, and how many of them are done by convicted felons? You'd be astonished at the numbers. You would be wigged out at the numbers. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because the government makes you think that every convicted felon is a bad guy, that they should never come out of prison. Why? Because the government is we have more prisoners per capita than any 2 or 3 countries combined for sure. I heard somewhere close to the next 10 countries combined. I'm pretty sure it was 2 or 3, but
Dash Life says you can get a felony conviction for some stupid shit nowadays.
Absolutely you can. They make you think that they're doing things that are safe. Let's talk about vehicular manslaughter. Vehicular manslaughter in and of itself is bad.
F says at Dash Life, you can almost get away with killing someone up here.
But did you know that in the state of Minnesota, if you're 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, that you can get convicted of vehicular manslaughter?
About illegals allowed to get driver's licenses.
Did you know that if you get caught doing 20 miles an hour over the speed limit, that it is considered vehicular manslaughter?
Carrot.
Now, you say, well, that's a good thing. No, it's not. You know how many freeways I've been on in this country, and the main line of traffic is doing 20 miles an hour over the speed limit? I've been on 60-mile-an-hour freeways, and everybody's doing 80. And the cops just get to pick and choose who they pull over. Why? Because I've been a victim of that 3 times in my life. Twice because I had out-of-state plates. Once because I was just the guy that he picked. And they all admitted to it. You know, you take all the things that are going on here now. And we can all have our issues. We can have our...
It's not a violation, says you mean. 20 miles per hour over is a felony, right? Not vehicular manslaughter.
No, they can get you for attempted vehicular manslaughter. They passed that law back in... Oh, it was the early 2000s when they passed it. Why? Because kids were out late at night when almost nobody was on the road, and a bunch of kids got caught drag racing on a freeway. And there was guys...
R33F3 Armed N355 says, administrative law, there you have it, no law, only for us, not them.
Well, that's
Loading's on a violation, says, without there being any other person involved. That's crazy.
Yeah. So they passed that law because of people going down, and I was guilty of it. I had lots of fast cars, fast motorcycles, man, and I remember I had a CBR 1000RR that was custom done by a custom bike shop down in Georgia. I bought the bike brand new. I'd seen one of their bikes that were done in an article. I sent it down over the winter, had them do it, had it shipped back in the spring, and it was a fast bike. A buddy of mine were cruising up 94. Wasn't nobody around us. This is like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody around us. Going up 694. All of a sudden, there's cherries and berries behind us. I looked down. I was doing 100 miles an hour, and I know that seems absolutely ridiculous, but on a bike, you're not thinking about it. You're just cruising. It wasn't like we were on it, hammer it, whatever. We were on a straight road. I mean, literally riding side by side, cruising. And I looked down and I said, I'm not going to prison for this. So I took off. Made the news. 165 miles an hour. I wasn't caught. Thankfully. Was not caught. Got very lucky. Was not caught. I had a tuck under garage at the time. But it's like, I wasn't hurting anybody. Had I come up on traffic at 100 miles an hour, I would have slowed down. But there was no traffic. There was none. There wasn't a freaking car on the road. Wasn't even thinking about it. How many people have been in a car cruising down a freeway and a good song comes on and you're just cruising? Next thing you know, you look down, you're 10, 20, 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. It's very easy to do. But there's no forgiveness for that. Because it's a law. And when you question why it is a law, unless you have millions and millions of dollars, because if you look at the original interpretation, see, a lot of things now are considered privileges that were never supposed to be. Take fishing, for instance. Fishing is now considered a privilege. Fishing was never was considered a privilege in this country. Hunting was never considered a privilege in this country. But because of the lack of...
3 of 3 Armed and 355 says it's not about us, but only them.
Well, not necessarily. Because hunting and fishing never used to be a privilege in this country. But because there's always them assholes... There's always those assholes, even now, who are just greedy. They hunt for the sport of the kill. That's it. I was watching a documentary out of Alaska, and people going up to Alaska for the moose hunt, literally shooting moose, cutting the back straps out of them and taking the horns off of them, and that's it.
Says we have many ruining it for everyone up here too.
They were literally cutting the horns off. They were permitted to do that.
3 of 3 Armed and 355 says in a bad way. Dash Life says speeding in Minnesota is only a gross misdemeanor unless other factors are involved.
The other factor involved in that is the amount that you're over the limit. I believe it used to be anything over 20 miles over the speed limit. It was what they called an upward enhancement. They could get you, if they wanted to, nobody pushes it, but they could push it for attempted vehicular manslaughter. They have the right to do that. Just like they have what's called downward departures. You can...
Dash Light says fatality, accident, alcohol, etc.
Yep. But as in everything in the government, they like to do the you could have. Take, for instance, I went to prison for bank robbery. They were trying to give me an upward enhancement for a dangerous weapon. Bank robbery in and of itself, because of the International Banking Act, or the American Banking Act of 1978, made it a federal crime. Because how they got their hands in that is, oh, hey, we'll federally insure your bank. We will federally insure your bank. Now they have jurisdiction. See, the Interstate Commerce Clause and the Interstate Commerce Laws and of their inception were great. But like everything else, the government finds a way to use them and abuse them. They're very good at it. Very, very good at it. And they said, when I asked about this, I said, okay. They were trying to give me a 5-year enhancement for dangerous weapons. I said, why is it a dangerous weapon? It was a broken gun. I wasn't even able to discharge anything. And they said, well, the potential for violence was there. My attorney, nice guy, but kind of worthless when it came to this. I looked at, I said, Your Honor, I said, can I say something here? And he says, do you want to advise your counsel? I said, no, I've got this. I'm pretty good. You know, he said, well, sure. I said, Your Honor, I said, the potential for violence. I said, I had 75 guns 6 miles away. I left those guns and brought a broken airsoft gun. The mentality would tell you that I am not there to perpetrate violence. And I said, you have the proof. You confiscated all these guns. Every gun that was registered to me, you confiscated. And he said, that's a good point. So the judge dropped that end of it. But they were going to try and give me another 5 years for the potential of violence. And they get away with it all the time. They get away with it a lot. You take the RICO Act. The RICO Act was initiated originally to bring down mobsters. Let's change laws. Let's change laws. Let's change things so that way the government can win. And they tug on the heartstrings of people because they'll say, "Oh, we need this law, and we passed this law for this reason." Now, as a criminal, I can tell you that as somebody, you watch the government. James Kopp was a cellmate of mine, and this is Nancy Pelosi's claim to fame. Nancy Pelosi went, because James Kopp was originally from California. Nancy Pelosi went to the federal government and said, we need to change the law and make this guy's crime federal, a federal hate crime. James Charles Kopp was in prison for killing a New York abortion officer or doctor. Which, in the state of New York, he would have probably done 10 years, maybe 12, and been out. Nancy Pelosi set forth to make it a federal crime because he was calling her out. She was a Democrat. He called her out on a regular basis. He protested the Planned Parenthood facilities, ruined a lot of them. And that's what James Charles Kopp did. He was an extreme activist. Okay. Do I agree with his actions? No. No, I do not. But the fact that they went out of their way for one guy, they went out of their way to change making anything against an abortion doctor a hate crime, and you end up in federal prison. You say, well, that's not such a bad thing. Well, did you know that federal facilities are basically warehouses for people? They are a money-making machine. It cost, back when I was in prison, it was $89,000 a year to house one prisoner. I promise you, they're not spending that on one prisoner per year. They're not.
33 of 3 Armed N355 says pro-life.
They are not, and I promise you, they are not spending that per prisoner a year. But they did this war on crime. See, they still follow the declarations of this country and what our founding fathers did. See, when they do...
That bug says, are you a prepper?
No. Hell no. For what? What are you going to prep for? The biggest thing I think is funny about people who are prepping. Okay, you may have the food, you may have. What is going to stop the fucking federal government from kicking your door in and taking whatever the fuck they want? We've allowed them to become bigger than we are. We've allowed them to become bigger than we are. Period. The Second Amendment was written in the time, they say, oh, well, that was based on muskets and this and that. Well, that's the same thing the military had. The military didn't have any exclusive weapons over the civilians. There was no regulation of what kind of guns civilians could buy because it was written based on the fact that we had just fought off a tyrannical government. We just won our independence from a tyrannical government. Well, guess what? They're doing it again. But this mess, and this brings me to my next is, this big badass, and we're talking a country that spends more on their defense budget, which I'm not mad about. We're talking a country that spends more on their defense budget than the next 26 countries combined. $25 of those countries are supposed to be our allies. You be the judge. I just put these out there and let you guys figure it out. But this...
F. Traveler 1 says, are you safe from Palestine explosion?
No. Nobody's fucking safe from military action. I gotta see if I can move this over here. I can't keep sitting like that. See if this works without fucking the phone up too bad. Nobody is safe from that kind of military action. Nobody. You tell me how all of a sudden we have all these unidentified flying objects literally on one of my fishing pages. The guys on Red Lake were showing surveillance planes. They had surveillance planes flying overhead because they're looking for another one. These balloons that were undetected.
420 says aliens he. F. Traveler 1 says it was Buttigieg.
But I want you to seriously think about it, folks. How is it a government that can pinpoint where you are at any point in time could not see these big ass balloons flying over their country?
F3 Armed N355 says LOL.
But here's the thing that
420 says Pete LOL.
But what I don't understand is how did they not see these things? How did they not see them? How come we, as the people, are not getting any information about this? They say it's a Chinese spy balloon. Okay, if it's a Chinese spy balloon, why the fuck was it allowed to stay in the air for 3 fucking days?
Says LOL, yes, him.
Why was it allowed to stay in the air for 3 fucking days? I bet you that motherfucker would have went over the White House and have been down immediately.
Armed N355 says smartphone. K-Bunk says so it could be recovered at the shallow sea. F. Traveler 1 says those are a distraction from the chemical spill in Palestine, Ohio. Chernobyl Part 2. Milky Hoods 420 says easily fooled our society.
Okay. You're telling me we can do full cargo transfers midair. Military has done it. We can do full cargo transfers in midair. We have planes with big fucking grapples on them. We have space shuttles that are perfectly capable of flying around with big fucking grapples in them. They go all the way out to outer space and put parts on space stations and shit like that. You're telling me we didn't have nothing to go out there and grab a fucking balloon?
R33 of 3 Armad N355 says, "Don't let this shit kill you, Ron."
Oh, no, it won't. It won't. I like to talk common sense. We have billions and billions and billions of dollars in military training, equipment, to handle anything, and you're telling me that we had to wait 3 fucking days to shoot down a balloon? Oh, you mean China got everything that they were looking for to make sure this shit would work? I mean, okay. All of a sudden, we got drones that could grab that motherfucker.
F. Straveler 1 says, "Where are you located?"
Central Minnesota. Yeah.
Lazarbeam says, "Good morning."
Good morning, brother. Somebody give me a shout out for Laserbeam, please.
XAP says, "We launched a $400,000 missile at it. The first one missed."
So basically, the Chinese government
Milky
was...
Hoots 420 says, "Ohio spill."
I don't know anything about it, so I can't comment on it.
Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says, "Hey Lazarbeam."
I'm just talking about what I know right now.
Lazarbeam says, "You on the ice today?"
I am. Came back out last night, but I'm probably going to have to move off of this. I'm not getting very good phone reception here. Which means I'm probably going to have to go somewhere where there's not as good of a bite. Literally, no lie, everybody. When I shut the stream off last night, I was on the phone with Barrican talking about some of the technical issues we had. My rattle reel kept going off nonstop after I ended the stream last night. Like, it was bad. No walleye this morning, though. Oh. I don't know. I'm thoroughly over. I know people like to get into politics. People like to talk about it, but it has become one of the
Lazarbeam
greatest.
says, "Debating if I'll go back out this weekend or not."
Well, we got rain the day before yesterday, and then we got a flash freeze, so all the water that was on top of the lake froze. But of course, all the certified dumbasses of Minnesota here, oh, I don't want my house to freeze in, so let me go fuck up all the ice roads that are slush and ruin them. But you come to the ones that we plowed in out here, that Jason and Fatty plowed in out here.
One says the UFO stories are a distraction from the train derailment carrying toxic chemicals. It has spilled into rivers. They old people to go back home, and the water is safe to drink. R33F3 Armad N355 says Ron, you look 15 to 20 years younger. Lazarbeam says 3.5 inches of water on the lake yesterday. R33F3 Armad N355 says with your beard.
Yeah, they've got that going shit. Lake Minnetonka had over 8 inches of water out there. There's a picture on one of my fishing pages. Some guy is going to be really mad when he goes to pick up his glacier because it's got water all over inside it.
Walleye Akasita says you see the houses on Minnetonka sitting in water halfway up their wheels.
Yep, I've seen lots of pictures. The favorite one is that Black Glacier because you know water's running in that motherfucker. They come in and have a limit of crappies in that some bitch or something.
Lazarbeam says Black Glacier. I seen that pic.
Yep. It's common sense, and this is the problem when you have a bunch of new guys who've never really been out ice fishing. They may have done it when they were a kid or whatever the case may be. But this is the problem with ice fishing is even out here, people didn't have enough common sense. Okay, hey, it's going to rain. We should get our houses off the lake. No, let's wait until it's fucking slush or it's frozen. There's a lot of houses out here that are frozen right now. And they're going to be mad when they got to come move these sons of bitches. They're going to be heated when they got to come move them. Well, it had blocks underneath it. It should be fine. Mm-hmm. Your 2x4 block works good for about 1.5 inches worth of water, but when you got 3 to 4 inches standing on top of the lake, and then it flash freezes. Good luck with that. Oh, which reminds me, I gotta plug this back in.
Walleye Akasita says the lakes by me haven't been good all year, only had my shack out for ice skin.
Yeah.
80306 says it going to be almost 40 again this weekend.
Nope. It is not. The highest temperature I've seen for the 10 days is 33 degrees.
Lazarbeam says if I don't go out, I'll probably spend the weekend pouring jigs to get ready for walleye fishing. Red Clee Rhonda says, hey, Ron Cleveland, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Yep, the 10 days changed all the way around. And we're supposed to be...
Trucker Chit's wife says at Red Queen Rhonda, hello. Walleye Akasita says they're talking 39 here for Saturday and Sunday. Nate 0306 says they must have changed it.
Yeah, I looked last night, and they're the highest I've seen up here for the 10 days, 33 degrees.
Red Queen Rhonda says I'm doing very well today.
Grab the Yeti. Come on out, Walleye. Come on out.
Lazarbeam says and probably put some base jigs while the pot is hot.
Come on out. I mean, there's 20 inches of ice where I'm sitting. I mean, the phone signal kind of sucks, but you'll be able to pull the Yeti out here.
Vernicat says, glad I pulled off Minnetonka on Sunday. The landings are bad.
A lot of landings are. That's the downside. Is a lot of these people ruin these fucking landings, and that's usually what kills ice fishing in my areas is the landings. The landings go to shit. You'll still have good ice out on the lake, but the landings are shit. A lot of it is because a lot of the landings are because people don't know how to plow landings. Like I see guys pushing snow right up to the landings, and that's the worst thing to do. You can't do that. You got to push the snow out towards the middle of the lake. Like I used to fish a little lake that had an aerator in it, and before they would pop the aerator open, because they had to have at least, they got to have 12 inches before they'll open the air or turn the aerators on, which is good because if the lake gets a whole shit ton of snow before that happens, guys like me and a lot of the guys that I fish with, we'll take the snow on that lake and we'll push it to right where that aerator is going to open up, because then all that snow will just settle right to the bottom, puts a whole bunch of shit, and it'll actually raise the ice up for us. But people didn't do that this year. We can go chase a 35-inch walleye.
November Doom says, what do you think is going to happen to Ohio?
I don't know anything about Ohio. Sorry. I did not watch the news. I'm commenting on the stuff that I know about Ohio right now. Toxic spills are not uncommon in this country. This is not some latest breaking thing that it just happened for the first time ever.
Says hello from Lancaster, UK. Ron, what do you do for a living?
I was a full-time streamer. Now I'm going to go do land surveying. I don't know anything about the Ohio story, so I cannot.
Habituated Cretan says Nickar.
Why do you got to be such an asshat?
Cretan says nice. K-Dot1 says you probably get this all the time, but what did you do time for?
Exclamation point felony or felon, one of the two. So one of the big things is if it was a chemical spill.
That was a typo. Honest mistake. Dash Life says, did you study up for your piss test?
Already did it. I got an hour's notice saying you need to be at the clinic by 3. I'm like, all right. Boy. I didn't even have time to study up for it.
K-Dot1 says, ouch, that's a large chunk of life.
Yep. It is.
F. Strabler 1 says Ohio is Chernobyl Part 2. You do know about Chernobyl, right?
I grew up in Montrose, Minnesota. Montrose, Minnesota is the home of Fitzsimmons. Fitzsimmons is a hazmat and railway specialist cleanup. They've been doing it since I was a kid, long before I was born. They specialized in chemical spills along railways. I'm not minimizing the situation, but I don't know anything about what is going on in Ohio, and I can tell you that it will be taken care of. They have a lot of certified hazmat crews across the country that handle this exact kind of stuff. They have tons and tons of things to handle it. We have a hazmat crew right here in Wilmer, Minnesota. Anywhere there is railways.
I was just being nice, Ron. Nice to meet you, and good luck with the new job, sir.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was a typo. That's the bad thing about TTS, and I apologize for that. I apologize for that. Yeah, I don't know anything about what's going on there. I'll look at it here after I'm done streaming. I'll look at it and see what exactly is going on. But I know if it's a railway hazmat issue, it's not uncommon in this country. It happens a lot. This may be one of the...
Astrabler1 says, please do some research. This is big.
It happens all the time. That's what y'all don't understand. This happens all the time.
Light says a capitulated cream, you're good. TTS read it differently than a typo, lol.
That's what y'all don't understand. This happens all the time. This is not uncommon. I grew up next to railroad tracks my whole life. Spills are not uncommon. I'm sorry, I'm not making a big of a deal of it as everybody wants me to make of it, but I've been around this shit my whole life. A lot of guys in my hometown, this is what they did for a living. They went and cleaned up railway spills, hazmat stuff. It's not like it's chlorine gas or something like that. I don't know what it is. But if they didn't evacuate everybody, then it's not, I mean, it's not 100% going to kill you right now. If you guys look at the stuff that transports down railways, you'd be fucking in fear to be anywhere near a railroad track when a train comes by. There's some shit that goes down them train tracks.
Dash Light says spills aren't uncommon at all. It's just now people are getting fed up with the lack of transparency about them.
Right. And that I can understand.
One says you keep saying that, but I don't think you understand. You'll wait for the next stream.
What do you mean I don't understand? I grew up around it. Please tell me what I don't understand.
Outdoors with Dog says at Extrabler1 you are blowing it way out of proportion. Go back and hide in Tor Bunker. See you in 5 years.
What don't I understand? Please tell me what I don't understand.
Extrabler1 says okay.
Please tell me what I don't understand.
Cretan says nowadays everything has to be a conspiracy theory for God's sake. People think it is related to the China balloon and part of population control. Lolo. Diana Sky says over 3,000 fish have died so far. Whole town was evacuated.
Okay. Not uncommon. Not uncommon. Somebody Google how many railway spills there were in the last 10 years. Most of them you never even hear about. I'd probably say 99% of them you don't ever hear about. Unless the right person happens to be there. Spills happen all the time that kill off fish. You can go an hour away from here right now because a county parks personnel was not doing their job in monitoring parks and dumping trash in part of the Minnesota River, and the fish are dying off there.
Scene switch to live low. Phone 744 646 millisecond. Stoenar says tons of train derailments all the time. Tons. PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 980 60 millisecond.
There's literally a BNSF train depot in the next town over from mine. I have been involved in a lot of tow shit.
Traveler 1 says please about it. I'm out. Y'all take car.
You've made me not want to do any research about it. I don't even want to hear about it anymore. Because it sounds like it's blown way the fuck out of proportion.
Oil pipeline breaks. Chemical plant spills. Shit happens all the time. Capitulated Cretan says these people think it was the Illuminati and they were transporting Mexican blood.
It's by the sounds of it, by the sounds of Traveler, it just makes me not want to look at it at all now. Because by the sounds of it, it's already blown way out of proportion, and it's already created.
It capitulated Cretan LOLXD.
And if you're hearing this spill being televised, that means they're hiding something else. You better look at what type of bills they're trying to push through local and federal government. These kinds of things are allowed to make big news because of the fact they're trying to pass something else. Look at all the shit that happened during COVID. Look at all the laws that were passed. Look at all the things and procedures that were changed. Look at everything that was done during COVID, and please tell me I'm wrong. I want somebody to tell me I'm wrong.
F3 Armed N355 says LMAO. Capitulated Cretan says how it's crazy right to finally distraction. Outdoor Squidog says Ronco Pink Helmet, Ronco Pink Helmet, Ronco Pink Helmet, Ronco Pink Helmet, Ronco Pink Helmet at Traveler 1 mask. In a car. Alone. With your windows up. Kgapunk says let me guess you're not jabbed either. Lazarbean says
I am.
just over a decade ago in November 2012, a similar derailment in New Jersey caused 23,000 gallons of vinyl chloride to be released into the environment. Grandmasu22 says my son works for railroad. You never know what is rolling through your towns. It's bad, yes, but it happens. Wondering what the media is trying to distract us from. Other spills happen all the time. Totally distracting the public. Lazarbean says not the first time.
No.
Harry Hesticle says all the time for real LOL. There was another one in South Carolina and Texas within a week from the Ohio derailment. Kgapunk says you took a DNA modifying vaccine.
And I suffered for it.
Media isn't even really covering it.
And I suffered for it. I ended up with 2 heart attacks and lifelong neuropathy. Nothing I can do about it. Yeah. Again, I'm not overworked up about a train derailment, people. I grew up in a town where we had one of the #1 hazmat certified companies that out there. There's another one right here in town that's what they do. I've been involved with train derailments. I've cleaned up some nasty shit. I mean, literally, been involved in a train derailment where a fertilizer tanker went over. It sucks. Railroads are not hurting for money. They will get it cleaned up.
Cretan says I have been triple jabbed and I don't feel good. I wish I could go back. I would refuse their stupid jabs. November Doom says what about the alleged spy balloon shot down recently? Oh.
No, you already missed that conversation. You're late to the party. You'll have to watch the VOD on the YouTube. You'll have to watch the VOD on the YouTube. What do you guys think? Should I stay here for the nighttime bite and fight with the phone signal, or should I go find a lake that's got better phone signal? What do y'all think? We know the big old tanker crappies hit here. Occasional Walter comes through here.
Grandmasu22 says my friend passed away from jab complications. Glad you pulled through and here today.
I am too.
XWZX says yes.
What do you mean, yes? Do I stay here or do I go to another spot? Find phone signal. You're not helping me here, Buzz.
Lady Trucker Chit's wife says move. Get better phone signal. Capitulated Cretan says are you in an RV rod? XWZX says exactly. XWZX says LOL. Dash Light says signal actually isn't bad right now.
Right, but you won't see any fishing. I literally have you propped up on a sleeping bag on top of my other whole sleeve.
Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says move on.
I got one for move. I got Buzz doing the Buzz thing.
Dash Light says coffee, tea, or milk. Yes, please. R33 F3 Armed
Coffee.
55 says would it be fair to say we have Monster running the show? While Ayakasita says stay your single seems fine. Xtabuzadek says LOL. Grandmasu22 says OO. Boss Lady's made her request. Boss Lady Truckerchit's wife says move, move, move. Outdoors with Og says at November Doom a weather array wouldn't be 3 bus lengths long, have transmission capability or need 20 solar panels.
I've had this debate with people over these balloons off camera. They said, oh, we're going to be going to war. I'm like, we're not going to war. Wars aren't fought with fucking guns and military action anymore. They're fought financially. China's going to get to do whatever the fuck they want around here as long as Democrats are in office and they control the shit that we need to make America move. Sorry, hate to break it to you. You have Joe Biden in office. We're not going to fight China. Sorry, everybody. Sorry to burst your bubble. Sorry to make everybody mad.
Walayakasita says why leave if you're on fish. November Doom says at Outdoors with Agikar, it's kinda fishy. Terry Mystical says corporate wars. Grandmasu22 says amen Ron.
I'm not, guys, listen, I'm very well researched in history. I love history. I always have been. That's what made my morning show successful. The first time around I was doing it, it's what made me who I am. Nothing that we're seeing now hasn't been done before. The Roman Empire is one of the greatest. They rose and fell 8 times. Well, we only hear about the one big one after they had conquered the world. Or at least what they thought was the world.
New war is intellectual property and lack of protecting it on our side.
Well, yeah, we're too busy selling it. It's big money. Look at all the Congress people getting rich from it. How is it the FBI raids former President Donald Trump's home in Florida? They find what they call classified documents, but the President of the United States is at that time the Commander-in-Chief of the United States military. He can declassify anything he fucking wants. Bet you didn't know that. Some of you may not have known that, but let me tell you the truth. The President of the United States can declassify any fucking document he wants and takes it anywhere he wants. There is not going to be any charges. This is a ploy just to try and make sure that he doesn't run for president again. But his attorneys and all that know what it is to be true. He can declassify. All he's got to do is say, I declassify this and take it home. He doesn't have to fill out any formal paperwork. He's the fucking president. But how is it the vice president, who does not have that authority, a.k.a. Joe Biden, in the time of the Obama administration, if this doesn't tell you anything, ladies and gentlemen, government is corrupt. Because look at Hillary Clinton and her classified servers. We have government officials taking classified documents home. They're taking their work home with them.
33 F3 Armad N355 says that it's just a shit show, Ron. They are all fake.
Okay. How is it that they are trying to get Donald Trump charged with criminal charges?
Dash Light says, and now Pence. Again, no authority.
Sounds like there's a lot of government officials who bring classified documents home. They bring their work home with them. We trust them enough to run this country, but we don't trust them enough to bring some documentation home. I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't care. What are these classified documents? Oh my God, Hunter Biden was doing drugs again. This is classified.
Capitulated Cretan says, Ron, I don't want to talk politics. I would just like to ask if you're proud of your current president. In the UK, they portray him as a saint, but from what I see of him, he can't string a sentence together.
Oh, he's a puppet. Somebody's got his hand up his ass. He literally looked at one of his press conferences, looked over at his people and said, am I supposed to say this? Am I supposed to say that? Come on. Guy's an idiot. Don't get me wrong. Back in the day, Joe Biden was a motherfucker. If you go look at his early days,
R33F3 Armed N355 says, Ron, I got one for you. Check. Why is my name in all caps? Opus 37 says D.
you go look at Joe Biden back in the early days.
It's sad, disappointed face. R33F3 Armed N355 says on all government docs.
Joe Biden used to be one of the most racist motherfucking politicians in all of Congress. He literally fought for laws to pass because people were black. But you can't tell people that, because even if I spent an entire week on my old morning show pointing out all the obvious, literally brought up all the clips of this guy trying to pass laws based on the black community to put them in prison. Joe Biden is the author of the crack laws, which locked up more African American people than any other law in history. Joe Biden has authored.
Testicle says, then you ain't that black, Jack.
No. I spent a whole week going through all of his stuff that he proposed in Congress. I sat at round tables night after night after night, pointing all this stuff out, coming out fully loaded. Literally, I would be the only guy sitting there.
Dash Light says he had an overnight revelation and changed.
Oh,
Scout Father 88 says, yo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, he had an overnight revelation of how much is this going to cost me? How much am I going to make? Joe Biden is worthless.
Cretan says, yes, it seems like he is lost when he is talking to the public. I just don't understand how Americans clap and cheer for him. He seems like he needs to retire if I'm wrong.
Let me help you out.
Says political views change, but the voters need it.
Let me help you out. Most of America does not. If you look at the
22 says he hasn't changed. He's always been a greedy man.
He's sucked on the American tit for his entire life.
Terry Hesticle says, and his son. Well, Yakasita says, let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, I will tell you that I personally, I respect The Office.
Dash Light says at capitulated Cretan he's got a low approval rating in the U.S., but they don't want the world to know that. Grandmaster 22 says, I still feel that the election was rigged.
I do too. If you look at the areas that voted red, even in the state of Minnesota, we have literally 3 cities that swing the entire vote of this entire state. We had one of the highest turnout elections in the last election, and you're telling me that, and they were trying to tell us that, oh, well, all these districts voted for Biden, and no, they didn't. Even to this day, you can drive around my neck of the woods, and you will see Trump 2024 flags everywhere.
Terry Hesticle says most votes in history of all presidents, my ass. PHX Network says scene switch to live low. Phone 1140, 1157 millisecond. XX says Democrats don't care who it is as long as they're Democrat. Look at John Fetterman. PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 704, 60 millisecond. Grandmaster 22 says we need to get the goose voted out.
It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Look at what happened to all the Republicans that were on the Trump train as soon as he was out of office. Look at all the Republicans that fought him when he came into office. And then they realized this guy was about business, and then they wanted to be on the Trump train, and as soon as he was gone, they were off it again. Those are the wishy-washy motherfuckers you got representing you. They're worthless. They're 100% worthless. You can, I mean, you can literally take all of them and you can listen to every one of them and you can look at their stuff. For me, it's entertainment value now. Watching congressional.
3 Armaden 355 says Vitrin is a scam. Scourfather88 says I believe they removed Trump because he was on the right track to rescue kids from sex traffic across the globe.
Donald Trump went at being the president as a businessman.
Dash Like says it's all about getting elected and re-elected instead of doing the right thing. Vernikev says Ilhan Omar is my rep, can't get worse than that. Capitulated Cretin says I am from England. Ron, I don't understand what has happened to him. We are supposed to feel secure with you as an ally, but it seems like a comedy show to be honest, but it's also quite scary.
Oh no, it's a shit show. But
R33F3 Armaden 355 says the swamp.
Donald Trump went at this country as a businessman, and that's why I voted for him. That's why I liked him. You're talking a guy who has failed
Smallwater
business.
Fishing says I throw my one vote in and forget about it. You can talk until you're blue in the face.
You can. And I talk about this simply to make people realize that it's do your civic duty, go vote. But
Strikes at Blue says when you get the Koch brothers saying they will do anything to keep you out of office, you won't win in 2024, sorry.
and how did that work for him? As soon as Joe Biden gets in office, they go get raided for illegal aliens.
Matthew 22 says I capitulated Cretin, I'm scared too.
How does that work for him? They get raided for having undocumented workers by the guy they wanted in office. That shit was hilarious. Hey guys, thanks for saying what you said. Here's a raid. Oh man, I died when I see that. I thought that shit was hilarious.
3 Armaden 355 says Donald is a Mason that not for us.
Oh, I don't care about all that kind of shit.
Grandmaster 22 says LOL. That sinking funny smiling face with open mouth and smiling eyes.
Yeah, we have a coke refinery.
Message 1CK says how.
Yeah.
Stripes of Blue says now seems like DeSantis is the guy.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not really going to do the whole political debating again. I'm not going to go sit at round tables
Dash Light
and
says that Stripes of Blue, I hope so.
I'm not going to go do the whole debating thing again. I'm not going to go sit at round tables and try and explain common sense because I realize there's just too many people out there that don't care. Most people that are commenting here on Twitch on politics don't really even believe it. The people who are extremely passionate about it are the people willing to go to the point of getting banned for what they believe. And after the 2020 election, I really just lost all faith in the system. You know, I just lost my mom. I had really just lost all faith in politics. When I go to bed and Donald Trump is winning by a lot, and I went to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I wake up and Joe Biden's our new president, all because of mail in ballots. You know, when I go into the voting booth, I have to present my ID to prove where I live. I have to verify who I am and that I'm a United States citizen. When I get my driver's license renewed, my commercial driver's license, I have to verify that I'm a United States citizen. I have to verify where I live. I go get a job. I have to verify that I'm a United States citizen. I have to have ID, social security card. I have to have all this stuff. I have to verify these things. But now, it has turned in, our election has become the joke of the world. Our election system. There was a YouTube video out, and I don't know how much validity it was, but it kind of hit home. There was a guy from the UK, actually, who got a mail-in ballot. Got a mail-in ballot and sent it in. Received an email saying that his ballot was received. It was postmarked the UK. That video disappeared shortly after I aired it. How much truth is behind it? I don't know. Wasn't even a U.S. citizen. Never been here.
Capitulated Cretan says at Grandmaster 22 it really is concerning. The last 10 years have been disgusting if I'm honest. Now I understand why certain groups are moving off grid to live. The world is going down the toilet. Grandmaster 22 says they don't want to hear it. It's all about money or what they can get.
Yeah, but there's
They don't give
nowhere.
a rip about the common man or our votes counting. My brother-in-law voted Democrat. Never mind that had passed away 6 months prior.
The thing is people talk about living off grid. There's no way to live off grid in this world anymore. There isn't. If Google Earth doesn't show you the fact that there's no way to live off grid.
How hard is it to make everyone vote in person? It's not.
I remember when MTV used to do the big thing every 4 years, the Rock the Vote, to try and inspire people to get out to vote. Now they make it about people with disabilities and things like that, that, oh my God, they can't go out and vote. Well, that's not true. I know in the state of Minnesota, if you are disabled and you need a ride, there are tons and tons of programs that will get you to your election spot to vote. Hell, the public bus service, the school bus service, will bring out their handicap buses. They will go out to rural areas and pick you up. There are ride programs. People who are dedicated to do just that. In the cities, there's taxi services and things like that that are dedicated to do just that. But that's what they try to make it. They try to say that.
Pep says we need voter ID.
as somebody who has studied a lot of history, I can tell you flat out, I'm just waiting for this whole system to fail.
Capitulated Cretan says, I understand Ron, but a simple life without voting and listening to these politicians sounds much more appealing.
It is, but that's also sticking your head in the sand. I've done it for the last almost 2 years. Stuck my head in the sand. And now I look around me. I mean, 4 years ago when I started streaming, you know, when Donald Trump was in office, I could have made it on $1,500 a month.
Capitulated Cretan says, I suppose you're right.
I would have made it on $1,500 a month streaming because gas was under $2 a gallon. Gas was under $2 a gallon. There was tons of stuff. But every time I went to the fuel station last summer, it was a $200 bill. You know, between filling the generator and the van. I got...
Grandmaster 22 says, I should go back to voter ID and in person. Unless you're military and on assignment.
Truthfully, the 4 years ago, I wouldn't...
Says eggs for $1. A dozen, haha.
Yeah.
American says, oh wait, shit, morning show.
Truthfully, you know, I understand that there's nothing, and I mean, I poured my heart and soul for years into politics and elections and educating people. And I feel that I did a very, very good job at it. A lot of people were inspired to actually study who they're voting for. Look at their voting records and look at the things that they did inside of Congress and their local legislatures and things like that. The local voting turnout in my area has gotten much, much larger. And a lot of people used to thank me for opening their eyes to what it means to actually go out and vote. My deal is to get people to go out and vote. I don't care who you vote for. I really don't. That is your choice. But when you take your choice and you try to push it off on me like it is the best choice and I know it's not, then we're going to argue. And because we're not going to have a conversation, we're not going to... You're already set in your ways and I'm already set in mine. So we're not going to have an educated conversation about this. As much as you'd like to believe we would, we won't. Matter of fact, I got in a debate with a guy at a bar one time. And nobody, I mean, it was just a lunchtime deal. Nobody was really drinking. Nobody was drunk, anything like that. But this guy said that Democrats were the only way that this country was going to survive. And I said, I think that's really wrong. I said, because if you look at every economic downturn this country's ever had, it's been, I didn't say ever had. I just said the recent constant downturns because of decisions that Democrats made. And I said, I can go as far back as the Clinton administration, and we can start there. Oh, Clinton was the best thing that ever happened. Oh, really? Why is it after all we finance everybody on houses, we had the biggest housing foreclosure and fallout in the housing market than we'd ever had?
Barican says, I say we make voting easy. Just vote for the guy whose wife has the bigger tits, lol. Go says you.
What's happening? And I mean, that's literally the truth of the matter. Why? I said, we had the biggest housing crisis after that. I said, look at Otsego, Minnesota. All those, I said, that community, I said, because of the We Finance Everybody programs, and I got into doing home mortgages at that time because, I mean, commission was fucking awesome. I had made so much money through Express Mortgages that they put me up in this tower, and we called it the Tower of Power because I was a loan officer, which means every loan that we put out, I made money on. And literally,
Outdoors with Og says everyone needs to vote in person with ID. If you are in the military, you vote on base. If you are out of the country, you better get your ass back or get fucked. It's that easy.
the you know, same with car financing because I was involved in a car lot then too. I mean, money was just, the government was backing everything. The government backed every fucking loan that you put out, insurance. And what I mean by that is, okay, you put out a loan for a car for somebody you wouldn't normally give a loan to. True story. I was in this business, so anybody who wants to call me a liar, there's a reason I had a lot of fucking money. There's a reason my crime money was going to these legitimate businesses at the time. Because the government would basically, if you took somebody who would not normally get a loan and you filled out the paperwork, the government would back that loan. Here's the best part. This is how Denny Heckard made so much money. The only reason Denny Heckard got in trouble is because he didn't pay taxes. So you take a $2,000 car, you'd finance this car for $7,000. You would charge 22% interest, and the bring your income tax check in to get financed was the best scam ever, because these people were getting tons and tons of income taxes back because they're horrible. You know, they didn't have the money to buy it otherwise. So then you turn around and you finance them for $500-600 a month on this piece of shit car that would break down with no warranty. And then when they would default on the loan, you filled out the paperwork, the government sent you a check for the existing balance of the car, and then you go repo the car and get to sell it again and do it all over again. I did it for 4 years. I was released from jail on work release programs to go do this exact scam. And it was a scam, but it was legal. It was a government-funded program. If you look back at the time when all this was going on, boy, man, money was just, and there was no actual cash. There was cash for guys like me. But all the stuff that the government was putting out there, they didn't have the cash to back this. Look at how high our deficit climbed during the Clinton administration, or because of the Clinton administration. And then people give George Bush Jr., they say he was one of the worst presidents ever because he walked into a situation where having to clean up that mess, and then 9/11 happened, in the beginning of his presidency. And don't get me wrong, he wasn't that great of a president, but he had a lot of shit on his plate as soon as he walked into the office. And he did a very good job of trying to turn it around. And then we get Obama. I had high hopes for that dude, man. I had really, really, really high hopes for that guy. I'm like, here's a guy that worked at the public level. He was a civil engineer. Great potential. Great potential. And never lived up to it. I just could not understand how a guy who worked so close in the inner cities of Chicago.
Grandmaster22 says our government leaders want to control the public, take rights away, guns away, freedom of speech too. Even our comics are getting attacked for poking fun at our political leaders.
Yep. I was so downtrodden. I was so out at the fact that President Obama did not make more of his opportunity, make more. He felt subject to what people like Joe Biden were telling him that he should do as a Democrat. I really had high hopes for that guy. He went in not being a politician and came out a politician. When you listen to his election speeches first time around, that was the guy. I was in jail at the time, but I wasn't convicted, so I was still allowed to vote. And I'll admit, I voted for him the first time around. I voted for him. I had really, really high hopes for him. I voted for him. I thought, here's the game changer. Here's the guy. This is the guy that is going to be about the people. Boy, was I wrong. And I would tell him that to his face. I love Donald Trump as a president and his business structure, but if I sat down with him face to face, I would tell him flat out, man, sometimes you just need to shut your fucking mouth and do your job. You're a great guy, a great president, man, but shut your fucking mouth and do your job.
22 says Obama had his hands tied by others behind the curtain. Then he changed while in power.
Well, you knew he was getting put up there as a puppet. And he was. I mean, he was literally lifted up.
37 says no one guy will never be enough.
Donald Trump proved that one guy can be enough to change this country. If one thing...
Kiss says Obama got his beach house. He set off the landslide.
You know, one thing that Donald Trump did prove is that one man can be enough. And he can. Because he said, I'm about the people. And he was. Every deal that Donald Trump went into became a business acquisition for both sides. He had fucking Justin Trudeau on board with all these fucking pipelines. Canada was already built into the United States border. They were clearing land here in northern Minnesota for him.
Hi Ron, greetings from Germany. Looks good without beer.
Thank you. They were literally clearing land in northern Minnesota to run one of these pipelines through.
Outdoor Swadog says Trump for king. Verniket says Obama was a community activist and a radical leftist.
But he wasn't. Not when he first started, he wasn't. Go look at his first speeches. Go look at his first speeches. He wasn't.
Outdoor Swadog says carrot.
He was about the people in his community. He stood for the people of his community, which at the time were suffering mass injustices by the legal system. And they were. You had innocent going to work people every day getting pulled over and being profiled because of the color of their skin. There was a lot of injustices happening. And people called him a radical because he spoke out against it. I did the research. I mean, the guy was legit. Like I said, I voted for him the first time around because I believed in him. because I really did. I believed he was going to be the change that this country needed. Henceforth, 8 years later,
Grandmasu22 says got to go. Have a great day, everyone. Outdoors with Ugg says, but in his 8 years, he did jack shit for his state.
bye, Grandma Sue. Thank you for coming in. And you're right. He didn't do shit. He did nothing. He did absolutely nothing. He made health care unaffordable for people.
Onyx Dynamo says that's literally every president carrot.
Oh, Donald Trump did a lot of good stuff. Only problem is the next president in reversed everything that he did within the first 36 hours of his presidency. Where most presidents would ride it out and let's see what's going on. They would get rid of the bad shit. Like the Paris Climate Agreement. You want to see how bad it's going to get? Look at what Trudeau is doing to fucking Canada right now. Look at the carbon taxes in that country. They don't even have an alternative energy grid online to run their country. But he is taxing oil companies right out of business. The same guy who was ready to build billions of dollars of fucking pipelines through the United States and work out a negotiation. And now we're doing carbon taxing. Well, I got to take this phone call. Guys, we're going to take a break real quick.
Fishy, fishy, fishy.
Here, fishy, 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 fishy. Big Bert and Ernie. I would shit have wanted to hit right then. Here, fishy, 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 fishy. I remember that from Sesame Street. Every time he said that, I want to jump in a boat. That's our upgrade right there.
Sniping Barber F says nice. What a chunker. Mr. Moses Mike says boom. Fish in Hole says damn, nice base. Barracan says 0.00. Bubba says that's worthy one. Boss Lady says 0. Chad R 1971 says 0.0. Mr. Moses Mike says 0.0. This Justin says look at that fatty. And I don't mean Fatty McGee. Graham says 0.0.
0.62.
Barracan says 4.49. Chad R 1971 says 4.49. Graham says 4.4. Chad R 1971 says nice 0.0. Boss Lady says 0. I am meme 23 says ooh. This Justin says nicely done Ron. Big Daddy says Dash Life created a clip. URL.
5.5.
Chad R 1971.
Right on.
All right. Zeros.
Vicarious yells nice. Chad R1971 says ho. Randy H1990 yells that's our boy Ron. Rugger Wife says 0. Angry Grizzly 95 says nice.
There it is, baby. There it is.
50s Mercs and things like that. I love those cars. But, you know, I got a thing for the 70s and 80s hot rods, man. Those were the cars that were really out there, and those were the cars that were really out there in hot rods when I was growing up. You know, I think we had one guy in town that had a T-Bucket. That was snowy. Should have rolled the window up for that one. Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Big Daddy yells YVNGTJS, just follow the channel.
There's two things that I have not set up myself yet. Which? There you go. Channel cat. Alright. Everything. We don't need that. Move that though. Instructions. Might need them. Alright. You shit stain. Where did you go? Which arms? Another white. Another white bass. They're just pounding this Mr. Twister setup. Another white bass setup. Clear scale. No, don't touch the screen. Okay. Alright.
So, we got zeros.
You gotta do it like this.
Oh, I set it close to the camera because I could actually
Okay, let me turn.
Yeah, you're good. I'm gonna
Get out of the sun.
grab my shades.
Y'all got zeros?
Chad R 1971 says 0.
Oh, oh, hello. Yeah! Look at the size of that pig!
Not only do you get to see one, you get to see two big ass ice holes.
And an asshole.
And a big asshole. Two ice holes and an asshole. And that one. And that one. Oh wait, there's a third one. And yet still a big
Big Daddy
asshole.
yells redneck loving life, just cheer 500 bits. Says PB baby.
Ah! Ah!
Dabaway says FKKK. Point blank says woo. Paddle 123 says OMG. Weather cop yells fuck y'all. Dabaway says that's a big one holy.
Zeros.
Garrison says holy fuck.
If I can get them to
Fastback57 asks, did he land that one? Super Stormy says, wow, he is a big one.
Hooks right into my Samsung TV, so you can watch it just like Netflix.
They don't have time to watch TV. I'm on the road all the time.
That was nasty. Feel better?
Just don't let AOC know I did it.
Oh fuck, dude, that's bad. Enjoy yourself. I'm out of here. Fuck.
Downwind.
God damn.
Syrup. Better than that imitation crap they sell in stores. Text to Buzzard X says, wow, that a good one.
That is a
Life is
tank.
nice one. Text to Buzzard X says, eat her all day.
That's what we've been looking for.
Hey Tigress 2 says, nice perch.
Buddy, he engulfed this.
Bot says scene switched to low. RCO underscore bot says current bitrate 491 kilobits per second. It's underscore unequistyles underscore 420 says let's see this thing. RCO underscore bot says scene switched to live. RCO underscore bot says current bitrate 737.
Big Daddy yells, Chad R 1971, just cheered one bit. Mern Flanders just cheered 100 bits. Making them dirt road dollars. I am Meme 23 says big one.
Made this mistake. By the way, fuck you, cancer.
Money Twitch in says much love at Chad R 1971.
This tail fin right here, the anal fin.
Point Blank says let's go.
People look at this fin or look at this fish. Oh, I. No, I don't know these little guys. Catching Gabby-sized bass is what I'm catching. See how these little ones moved in.
Big says welcome, you got mail.
Penguin! Penguin! I see you, ugly mother trucker. What's happening, everybody? Look at that. You take a break and people just leave. Viewer numbers go down. People are like, fuck this guy, whatever. He should just sit here and talk for 10 hours straight. Should never take a break. That's not very nice of you. Well, now I'm at the debate. Damn. Ugh. Boss, are you all right? Ugh. I know the fishing's going to pick up here. Last night was kind of slow just because of the cold snap, but I know the fishing's going to pick up here, but I don't want to keep fighting phone signal either. But I do need to go home. I need to prep dinner. I promised Lolly I would make dinner tonight. So I need to go get that done.
Strikes of Blue says IRL streamers have it tough.
No. Just me. I don't have the entertainment value, is what I was told. I was told by somebody that the reason I didn't make it is because I don't have the entertainment value, because I don't get up and dance around and get excited and shit like that enough. And I'm like, oh, whatever. This wasn't meant to be. So. People come to be entertained, and I'm not very good at entertaining, I guess. Told my wife I should have just stayed in the studio. Would have been a hell of a lot cheaper. Do I have a regular slip bobber, smaller one? You got those ones. That's not a slip bobber. That's not a slip bobber.
Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says you mean you don't want to shake your booty for us.
No. I'm not a shake your booty kind of guy. That one might work. Boober. Or maybe this one. This one would
Boss
work.
Lady Trucker Chit's wife says LMAO.
I think tonight I'm gonna punch out I'm in a debate if I should punch a third 8-inch hole and then I can run my fish finder. I don't know what I should do yet. I'll figure it out. That's my problem. I think a lot. I think way too much. Downsides of being a driver. I got these little boobers. That's why I'm not catching big fish. I'm not using the Miller High Life bobber. It's my 3rd year of having this thing. Usually I got to set on a rattle reel line, but I got my rattle reel so close to the ceiling I can't wrap it around anymore.
Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says chair 119. Oswald Box says Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says chair 119.
Thinking if I restring that one with 8-pound. That one's got braid on it. I don't want to change that. I could do that one. I just don't like we're running bobber stops on braid. They don't work very well. I don't have any more ice monofilament. I'm not going to go buy any for the end of the season. I've only got 2 weeks. Probably.
It's not Olivia says hi.
Howdy. So, how do I want to do this? How do I want to do it? I don't know how I want to do it yet. I feel like I should have got me a big old sucker minnow last night.
Lady Trucker Chit's wife says cheer 85. Marco Bot says boss Lady Trucker Chit's
I could
wife
do that.
says,
I can do that. Where the hell's my open tin? There it is.
PHX Network says trying to fix the stream.
Oh, that's why that one was empty. I'm going to cut a gasket out for this setup too. I have a pizza, but I don't have any munchies. I do have sunflower seeds.
Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife says let's go for a drive and get munchies.
I don't have any money. I'm honestly broke right now. I spent the last of the money putting gas in to get out of here and get gas for the generator. I'm all the way out of funds. So I'll be fine. I start work Monday, but I have food at home. I'm just debating if I want to keep fighting phone signal issues or go to a different lake. I do know that the last time I was here, though, I had the Weeboost antenna facing a different direction. I need to look at something. Oh, yeah. Signal is absolute shit here. Kudos to Barrican's network is all I got to say.
PHX network says phone 688 56 millisecond.
Yeah, signal's absolute horseshit here. I will put it to you this way. People wonder why I allow Barrican to have so much control on my stream. I am literally streaming right now with a 1.5 upload. Every other system I've been on, I need at least 5. I'm literally streaming right now from a 1.5 upload. So signal has gone to straight shit here. And that's with the Wii Boost running. If I didn't have the Wii Boost running, it'd be half of that. Ask my buddy Chunk, see if fish are biting over there. You catching any fish over there?
Need to get Bella running.
Yeah, I gotta go pick up a switch. I got one switch I gotta pick up for it yet. Kind of wait until I'm working when I can support running all 3 modems. Next winter, I'll be running the shit out of it.
Arcobot says Boss Lady Trucker Chit's wife secretly sneaks off the camera to steal all the fish.
The problem isn't the build, it's I can't
Boss Lady
support
Trucker
the...
Chit's wife says be back in a little bit.
Okay. The problem isn't the build, the problem is I can't support to keep it running right now. Might be moving over by you. Crappies were hitting here last night, but I'm not getting any phone signal for streaming.
PHX network says scenes fish are low. 714. 44 millisecond. PHX network says scenes switch to Linux phone 1076. 73 millisecond.
Well, American, for some reason, my signal out here has just gone to complete shit. I think that I'm probably going to have to pack everything up and move today. Unfortunately, if I move, that means I'm going to end up on a lake that probably is not going to hit well for fish.
Erican says it happens.
Well, just so you know, your system's working on a 1.5 upload. It's about like streaming down at Carver, down by the river where OG and I fished all the time.
Erican says nice. I'd like to see other people's systems do that, lol.
Well, and that's fluctuating. It drops all the way down to like 0.5 sometimes, 0.36, and it's still maintaining. It drops to live low, but it still maintains the stream.
Erican says you're at 945 right now.
That doesn't sound very good. Yeah, once I've got money to be able to afford to keep the modems running, then we'll definitely be on the box. The nice thing about the box is I'll be able to put cameras on a... But even before we got this box running,
Erican
it's
says
evolving.
it's not bad. Still clear picture / audio.
See, if I move the fish house closer to home, I'll have good signal, but I might only catch one fish a night if I'm lucky. I got about a dozen crappies last night, but then when it started getting really cold, they turned off. Supposed to be warmer tonight, I thought. Maybe not. It's supposed to be colder. Oh, it is supposed to get down to -5 tonight. I was wrong. It says it's supposed to get down to -5. It's only 10 degrees outside right now. Yeah, we won't be punching any 10-inch holes. Not for tonight. But what I can do is I can make the gasket. Oh. So if I make the gasket to go over this part of the floor, that'll retain some heat a little better. Really don't want to run 3 holes because it's going to ruin the insulation. I could drop that whole sleeve. No. Just gonna have to sit by the hole and pull the deucer out. The bitches of ice fishing. But I do need to make a gasket. Which means I'm gonna have to move the phone. Hopefully the signal don't cut out.
Outdoors with Og says I will have Starlink by the time we hit the river.
Why?
Hillbilly Hermit says 24 hours after Republican subpoena, Google YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says she's stepping down. Imagine that.
Social media is about to take a huge fucking turn. I will tell you that right now. They will not be as protected as they have been.
The Oslo says Murabak.
They have done pissed off enough people in Congress.
Says Hillbilly Hermit, go figure how. Berikin said.
God damn it. Oh, that was nice. That just turned off on me. You know what? I'm going to do this. Nothing seems to want to work right. Everything seems to be cutting out, so I'm going to try it on here. Give me 1 second.
Dash Light says a Hillbilly Hermit morning, sir.
I don't know if it's going to make any difference other than fuck up my phone signal, but we'll see. My tablet keeps wigging out. I don't know why.
Hillbilly Hermit says multiple authorities are responding to a massive train derailment outside Detroit.
Oh, another one. Imagine that. We just had somebody telling us the one in Ohio is the only one that's ever happened in history.
Hillbilly Hermit says OMG. Hillbilly Hermit says LOL.
Ugh.
Born too late to explore the earth, born too early to explore the universe, born perfectly to explore dead things. Carolina Basco says coincidence. I think not.
Train derailments happen a lot, believe it or not. It's just now they're getting public, which makes me wonder what the fuck is the government trying to cover up now? And I say that in all honesty.
Berikin says, did that work?
Not really. It had more of an afterplay soundbite than it did anything else. Play it again. I got it on the Bluetooth speaker, so hopefully it stays on. For whatever reason, my tablet's been disconnecting from Bluetooth. I might have to restart it. I got to make a gasket here. Or do that, I got to.
Born too late to explore the earth,
Born too early to explore the universe. Born perfectly to explore damp moons.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to try and bring you guys up here. I apologize if it starts getting wonky, but I need the space. Because I will gasket. It's going to hit high low tonight.
Apex Network seems to live all nine.
Be up there. What about right here? We'll let you guys be right here. Will it allow this?
As I let a dog out love.
Was it yours or anything?
PHX Network says scene switch to live 103. Network says switch to 378. 1,530 milliseconds.
If I turn this house my antenna. Let's go for a walk and see how well shit works.
PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 1,468. 208 milliseconds.
Of course.
American says she's tanked.
Well, I'm guessing largely in part because my antenna is not grounded very well anymore. Let me see if I can fix that. Do-do-do-do. Let's see if I can get some grounding in here. See if that'll help it out some. Just want y'all to know it's fucking cold out here. Shit I do for you all into my stream. Up good fishing holes for signal.
Text network says being switched to liberal. Phone 1050, 1055 milliseconds.
Dear, what was in the package? Was it yours or mine? Oh.
EHX 650.
I may have to turn my fish house around. Last time I was out here, it was facing the other way.
EHX network says scene switched to live. Phone 811 56 milliseconds. EHX network says trying to fix the stream.
F only works for audio. I really don't want to move because I know the fish bite is good here. I'm just getting shit signal. I'm gonna have to.
Network says refreshing the stream completed.
I'm just getting shit signal. I'm gonna have to move lakes. I'm getting absolute horseshit signal. Because I can't fish from the spot and show stream. And like last night it was working okay, but if I go closer to home, I'm probably gonna catch way less fish. It is what it is. But we could go for a walk and I could check some signal. Maybe I don't just get...
PHX Network says phone 1252, 67 milliseconds.
Let me find my gloves. You guys are probably on them.
The dog says signal good.
Yeah, but I'm going to walk out here a little bit and see if we can't get it just a little bit better. So hang out with me for a second, OG. I could probably use your help. Put on the fishing hat. It's a little chilly out there. Put on some gloves. Okay, we'll be warm now. Oh yeah, we made some good ice out here last night. It'll make even better tonight. The wind is coming from my back. So if I pull out and I move over here, I get the fish house right alongside this bank. That's a little cold. Try it one more time, OG. Yeah, see, it's faltering again. I'm just gonna have to bite it for what it is, because I know once I get inside that tin shack, it's gonna be even worse. Move now as we can. It's daylight. Let's call it a day on the lake. I was only gonna stream for like 2 hours this morning. For some reason, I just like talking to y'all. I'd rather talk to y'all than catch fish, because I got fish. Because starting Monday, I won't be able to talk to y'all as much. Oh, it's cold. If I say it's cold, it's cold. And it's cold out there. Alright, y'all hang out there for just a minute.
7,173 says, did you tell?
I didn't.
Phone 3,025 milliseconds. PHX Network says phone. 1 millisecond. Greywolf
Yeah.
7173 says screen is messed up again.
Yeah, we're gonna be moving. Well, if not, I can see this. I'm gonna move. We're gonna lakes as much as I don't want to.
PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 977 58 millisecond.
Much as I don't want to move, because I know the fishing's good here, I'm gonna have to. So. That's that first minnow I put on last night, or last minnow I put on. Nothing touched him. What do y'all think? Should I change lakes completely, or should I go?
7173 says it's good again.
Yeah, I'm gonna just have to change lakes. Go to somewhere that's got more of a steady signal. Damn, this sucks.
Outdoors Without says can't you just go to another part of the lake? PHX Network says scene switch to live low. Phone 891 1271 millisecond.
Well, if I move, I'm going closer to home, so I'll probably go sit on Nunya for the rest of the season.
PHX Network says scene switch to live. Phone 1007 60 millisecond.
I mean, I only catch 1 or 2 fish a night over there, but
Neat0306 says I wouldn't go to Nunya.
where the hell else am I gonna go?
PHX says scene switch to live low. Phone 590 1494 millisecond. 80306 says go foot if you want to catch fish.
Access or shit over there.
Neat0306
Yeah, guy was on the stream last night. Said the accesses went to shit over there.
PHX network says scene switch to live. Phone 1030, 175 milliseconds. PHX network says scene switch to live low. Phone 997, 1002 milliseconds. Nate 0306 says carried. PHX network says scene switch to live. Phone 997, 58 milliseconds.
Yeah. Let's switch this over so the miners stay alive.
PHX network says scene switch phone 783, 1493 milliseconds. PHX network says scene switch to live. Phone 769, 187 milliseconds. PHX network says scene switch to live low. Phone 1033, 496 milliseconds. Nate 0306 says not going. They're for Northerns.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to go yet. I got a good idea. Pack up and setting up. 2 worst jobs of house. Anything ice fishing. See, when I was younger, I had a pretty good lake. And during the daytime, with my skid house, I get out there in the mornings, you'd pull into about 8-10 feet of water.
Scene switch to live. Phone 795, 165 milliseconds.
You pull into about 8-10 feet of water, hits you a bunch of fish.
PHX network says scene switch to live low. Phone 1034, 622 milliseconds.
All right.
PHX network says scene switch to live. Phone 1028, 126 milliseconds.
All right, I'm going to find somebody to raid here real quick, and then I'm going to get set up. I'm going to let everything charge up, and then when I get next lake, I'm going to run home for a while and I'll just raid tonight.
PHX network says scene switch to live low. Phone 430, 1530 milliseconds.
See who's on here.
Boss Lady Trucker Chits wife says
What? Oh, Flanders is still on. I got to raid. Probably going to be getting off. But we're going to rate him anyways, just because of the fact that he always. So we're going to rate Mr. Flanders. He has